Hey, Mike. Today we're talking about do not draft running backs. Producer. No jokes to kick it off. We're just getting right into the content for you. Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Granberg and Biggs on the Fantasy Football Advice Network on YouTube. Go to Fantasy Sports Advice Network and create your account. And follow us. You don't have to go to YouTube. You can see our videos there. You can interact with us all day long. It's a social media platform, and it's going to change the fantasy world. Today we're talking about do not draft running backs. Caveat, just in case you dropped the ball and missed our last two episodes about do not draft players. Maybe you could draft them. Maybe. Just at the right value. And where they're going right now, they are untouchable. All right, my first one is going to be Joe Mixon. He's being drafted at ADP 16. That means he's absolutely being relied upon for roster builds as the RB2 on somebody's team, or even the RB1. That's bad. He's overall ADP is 48. That means you have to get him in the fourth round. Your RB2 in the first four rounds is a sound strategy. Joe Mixon is not. He's 28 years old, and he's about to fall off the cliff. Granted, he had a good year last year, but for the value, I'm going to go with somebody who may be more reliable. Number two, the guy who's taking over for Joe Mixon in Cincinnati, Zack Moss. Now, Zack Moss is a best ball hero, and if you haven't played best ball, essentially what happens is you draft a whole team, and then you leave it alone. Whoever at those positions scores the most points that week, that's who wins, right? Zack Moss isn't reliable. He gets hurt all the time. He's never played a full season in his entire career. And while we can't predict injuries, we can kind of hedge and say it's not likely Zack Moss is going to be healthy. Plus, Chase Brown is there. He's young and he's good. He's fast. We've talked about him on the show before. In best ball, take Zack Moss. He'll have a spike week and help you win. Not in a redraft league. Let other people have him and then be mad when they have to move him to the IR. Mike, who you got for us?
Well, today, as one of my do not drafts, and it's going to come as a shock to some people because they like Aaron Jones, but I think he's facing some daunting outlooks in 2024 at the age of 29, turning 30 later this year, and coming off a season where he missed 6 games and failed to surpass the 35% snap share in 3 others. Jones has struggled with durability and consistent involvement. His move from the Green Bay Packers to the Minnesota Vikings amidst a quarterback uncertainty with either Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy at the helm adds further complexity to his fantasy prospects. With Kirk Cousins departing for Atlanta, Jones enters a potentially unstable offensive environment that could hinder his production. Aaron Jones boasts a history of impressive statistical achievements. His upcoming season in Minnesota presents significant challenges, in my opinion, that could impact his fantasy value with uncertainties as quarterback, potential limitations in offensive personnel and scoring opportunities. Jones may struggle to replicate past successes, and I think that Ty Chandler is going to come in and garner some play as well. So I'm just really much out on Aaron Jones in 2023. I think his high risk, high reward potential is shifting the landscape, and I'm out of him. Now, Devin Singletary is another guy that I'm out. I like Tyrone Tracy as a late round sleeper, but despite Devin Singletary's past successes, his productive history last year with the Texans, he just doesn't do it for me in this system, in this new offense, in an offense that is, struggled the last couple seasons with Daniel Jones at the helm. Fantasy gamers should consider Singletary as a competition within that backfield. The team may consider to opt to more of a committee approach because of that fact. And I just think that his workload and upside is just limited despite his past accomplishments and proven ability to be a starting running back. the combination of depleted offensive line, quarterback instability, and potential competition for touches suggests Singletary's fantasy value could fall short of his expectations. So I'm going to proceed with caution, and I'm going to have minimal shares of Devin Singletary as much as I possibly can. Now, Biggs, oh, Schulte's in here. What do you got for
Hey,
us, big guy?
nothing. I just wanted to say hi.
Hi, Schultze. I don't know who Devin Singletary is, but I sure won't draft him. Thanks for that, Mike. All right, my spotlight. Boo, spotlight. Running back, do not draft is Devin Achane. I talked about Zack Moss and his best ball ability. De'von Achane is kind of in that same group. He is too small. He's too damn small. He's not going to be able to be productive for the entire season. It's just not going to happen. It was a concern when he was coming into the league and exactly played out the way that people thought. Now, when he's on the field and he's getting the ball due to injury to Raheem Mostert or what have you, the dude smashes like 20 something points per game. He's elite. But are you going to try and pick and choose all season which of those games is going to be the one that he does that in? And are you going to risk the draft capital drafting him as at RB9? Are you going to risk that to have somebody who you have to bank on him finishing an entire season? The size that he is, nobody does that. Not in the history of the NFL. And guys are bigger and faster now than they ever were. So it doesn't look good for Devin Achane. Let other people take the shot. You also have Raheem Mostert, who's there. They're splitting carries. Mostert's great when Achane is injured. Achane's great when Mostert is injured. But now they have a new kid, Jalen Wright, who's he fits the mold of a Mike McDaniel running back. He's super fast. There are still RB1s on the board, guys that will lead their backfield, have more of a path to production that are going to be available way later, like Ramondre Stevenson and Zamir White, guys that are going to have the bulk of the carries for their teams. De'von Achane isn't it, folks. Do not draft.
Yeah, I mean, it's a risky one. It's one that could come with a lot of reward if you do draft them. But if you're on the side that's going to be play a little bit more, safe, definitely De'von Achane is not a guy that I'd be willing to do. Best
now, real
ball
quickly,
is great.
Mike. Sorry, yep. I got to get out of here. And I'm going to let you take over. Finish it solo, baby.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got when we replay the episode.
Do it, buddy. All right. So
hope you win, guys.
Yeah. So my number one spotlight here, and guy that I'm just not going to be drafting in 2024, and that's Kyren Williams. He emerged as a fantasy star in 2023. Headed into the season, though, there are significant reasons for caution when considering him as a top fantasy option. While Williams dazzled last year, finishing as the RB2 in fantasy points per game and showcasing his versatility with over 1,100 rushing yards and 15 total touchdowns, there are several factors, though, that could temper expectations for him moving forward. First, despite his breakout season, Williams faced heightened competition in the Rams backfield this year. They drafted Blake Corum in the 3rd round, who brings higher draft capital, better athleticism, and better metrics all around than Kyren Williams. So his involvement, even in the modest way early, could impact Williams' role volume, particularly in crucial situations like goal line carries and passing downs. Another concern for Williams is his injury history. He missed the first 8 games of his rookie season due to a foot injury and dealt with a high ankle sprain last year, which sidelined him for the portion of the season. Williams also missed most of OTAs this offseason due to another foot injury, raising questions about his durability headed into 2024. He excelled in a bell cow role last year with over 21 touches a game, and I think that is going to diminish his reputation as a capable receiver. He is now ranked lower in target share, yards per route run amongst qualifying running backs in 2023. If the Rams opt to involve Corum more in passing situations to diversify their offense, Williams' involvement in the passing game could diminish. Given these factors, fantasy gamers drafting Kyren Williams in 2024 must proceed with caution. He has shown immense talent and potential, but the increased competition in that backfield, coupled with his injury history and offensive strategy may be changing, suggests that Williams may not replicate that RB2 finish in 2024. So that's it from us today at the Fantasy Forecast for the Fantasy Football Advice Network. Thanks for joining in. Just remember and reminder here to, follow us on X at FF Canuck 99, at Big Boated FFB, and at Schultzy SCHU1TZY. And follow us on Twitter and follow us on our new platform, the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. We have a new social media platform that will connect everybody in the way that you want to be connected without all the fluff from Twitter or Facebook and ads. So come follow us there, get subscribed, and we will see you next time on the Fantasy Forecast. We hope you win.